Well, let's return to our top story now, the UN's contingency plans should Syria's government fall. Joining me on the set here is Birol Baskan. He's an assistant professor at Georgetown University School of Foreign Service here in Doha. Birol, good to see you again. What's your reaction to the news that the UN has been making these secret preparations for a post-Assad Syria? How significant is this?
They have an insider information that this bloodshed is going to come an end, but it doesn't seem to be so. But of course, it's good to be ready for such an eventuality if it is going to happen. But how it is implementable, whether it's going to be implemented or not, is going to depend a lot on two conditions. Either one, a superpower or a major power is going to stood behind that plan militarily, or the sides, the local powers, are going to agree to abide by that plan. And then, as far as we know, there is no such a commitment in both possibilities.
And of course, just fresh in our minds are the wars in Iraq, Afghanistan and Libya. There doesn't seem to be any political appetite for other countries or even NATO to get involved in a post-Assad Syria. So is this why we're seeing the UN take this sort of lead role, perhaps in a stabilization capacity?
Since nobody is willing to take the risk to go in and then to correct the situation, of course the UN is the only player, or seemingly the only player. But I am questioning the capacity of the UN to make any meaningful or substantive change on the ground, and then whether it can help the rebels to fall down the Assad regime. I don't see how it's going to happen. I don't see how it can implement its plan on the ground.
Yeah, and I mean, Syria is one of these places where there are so many different players working within the space. I mean, Iran, for example, wouldn't just stand by and let the UN fill the power vacuum. So even if Assad goes, Iran will still have a big influence in Syria.
That's exactly the point. I mean, we don't know when this post-Assad period is going to come about. Not only that, even if the rebels capture Damascus, this is not going to be the end of the story. Iran is very much determined to keep this conflict alive by supporting the Assad regime and then it's the remnants of the would-be former regime. So the civil war will continue as long as the sides are willing to continue. So here the UN role is very much limited, if not supported by international community, militarily speaking.
Yeah, and that support by the international community is very important, because the UN would have to go to the Security Council to get endorsement for the plans. We don't know what Russia and China would do. They could still veto it.
Yes, that's exactly the dilemma in Syria. At least two members of the Security Council are standing by the Assad regime. So it's really on the shoulders of the rebels to bring down the regime on their own efforts. And whether this is going to happen or not is still unclear to me.
Birol Baskan, thank you for talking to Al Jazeera.